One consequence of the concept of continuity is a theorem which is very famous historically, and technically it is used in many situations, but which we will not emphasize very much. I want to talk about it very briefly just to tell you what it means and to allow you to make sense of some of the questions in the textbook. But again, because this is mostly related to some technical issues, we're not going to dwell on it very much. So what does this intermediate value theorem says? It says the following. Suppose that you have a function that is continuous on a closed interval from a to b. So that means continuous all the way from a to b, including a and b, which means that basically the limit as x approaches a from the right is the same as the value of the function similarly on the left. Then, if this is true, then the function is going to take every value between f of a and f of b. Now, it's a lot easier if I explain it to you through a graph. So let's say that we have a function, and that's the graph of that function. And let's say that this function, as you can see, as the graph suggests, I should say, is in fact continuous all the way from a until b. Then what happens is that at a, the function will have a certain value f of a. At b, the function will have another value f of b. What this theorem tells us is that if you pick any other value in between, okay, then there's going to be some value of x for which the function will attain that value. In other words, any horizontal line in between f of a and f of b will actually cut the graph of the function, will intersect the graph of the function. So as you can tell, it's something quite simple to understand intuitively. However, as I mentioned in the previous video, the concept of continuity is not, in its mathematical essence, is not as simple as it looks. So again, this theorem itself turns out to be a fairly complicated theorem to prove. Well, not really that complicated, but it's not as simple as it looks. And but again, those kind of technical issues are not something that we need to concern ourselves with. So I'll just leave it at that. What you can do is you can look at some of the examples and exercises in the book to find out some very basic ways in which this theorem is used. But however, remember, this is not really the way the theorem is used. It's used mostly for technical work.